Welcome to Contemporary Retirement. Contemporary Retirement is a public interest program focused on the retirement community. Every program has segments on legal, financial, and health issues affecting the retirement community. Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a major grant from the Family Heritage Trust Company.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored by Family Heritage Trust Company. The Family Heritage Trust Company is an independent bank chartered trust company established by local professionals to provide fiduciary services including fee-based investment advice, trust services, retirement planning, and tax planning. The Family Heritage Trust Company is committed to client service in our communities. For more information, call the Family Heritage Trust Company at 301-631-5900.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a grant from R. Thomas Murphy & Associates, P.C. R. Thomas Murphy & Associates is one of Franklin County's leading law firms, emphasizing estate, trust, elder law, and medical assistance planning.
Welcome to the Is It Legal feature on Contemporary Retirement. Is It Legal focuses on the legal issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Tom Murphy from the R. Thomas Murphy Law Firm with offices in Waynesboro, Chambersburg, and McConnellsburg. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Good morning.
Tom, we're doing a sequence here on avoiding probate. Everybody knows it's always better to avoid probate, and one of the most common tools that is used is a trust.
Oh, absolutely. I see a lot of trusts, and the vast majority are either unnecessary or incorrectly drafted or create other problems down the road.
And one of the problems that we see here is that the states are absolutely paranoid about trusts in terms of long-term care planning. The average middle-class family, by far their largest economic risk in retirement is nursing home expense.
Right.
And this trust, which is going to save minimal amounts of money, now puts those assets at risk to pay nursing home bills because the state won't let you qualify if you have assets in a trust.
Exactly. And so in a nursing home setting, we have to undo that trust, and if we've got some bad language in it, it's very difficult, and it may end up costing that family a significant amount of money while we're going through that process.
So avoiding probate for the house, this is the common thing. They put the house in that revocable trust. Well, in Maryland, a house in a revocable trust is an available resource for a married couple,
Right.
but if it was owned by the married couple either individually, the husband or the wife, or jointly, it's not an available resource.
Yeah, same in Pennsylvania. So normally we would, in a normal situation, move it to the healthy spouse. If it's in trust, we sometimes have to go through a lot of processes to clear title and then make that transfer.
Well, we have a bunch of people running around selling these trusts at hotels and so forth,
Right.
and their basic thematic message is, well, your local lawyer really doesn't understand the wonders of trust. That's why we're here, to help you protect yourself from not only the state, but your lawyer who doesn't understand. Well, the reality of it is that, many of these trusts that are sold at these hotels have some poison pills in them.
Right.
One of the poison pills says it becomes irrevocable upon one of the spouses becoming incompetent as to their share. What happens to Medicaid planning in that environment?
Well, that usually locks us down, meaning we can't fix the problem, and so if it becomes irrevocable, we can't get the house out to make an exempt, non-countable asset.
Or any other asset.
Or
So
any
even
other
though it
asset.
says it's revocable, you've built in a poison pill that says it's not.
Right.
Now, our firm just recently hired a big-time Baltimore firm, and after tens of thousands of dollars, we got a court order that said these people did not understand what they were doing. That thing they were sold by that guy at the hotel telling them that the local lawyer didn't understand was a total mess, and in fact, after all these attorney's fees, we got a court order so we could get that thing out of the trust. Not really what the family had in mind.
Well, exactly. Most of the salespeople and the trust mills that are doing this, A, they're not attorneys. B, they're just trying to sell a tool. Doesn't matter if it's a hammer or a trust, it's the best thing going. And they don't understand Medicaid, and they don't understand death tax and the whole probate process most times.
And so when we're dealing with it, they also sometimes have another poison pill. And the poison pill says the right to revoke is personal
Right.
to the person who signed the trust, created the trust. Well, that person's incompetent, so
Right.
they don't have the ability to sign that revocation.
Right. So if you don't have the ability either as an individual or as their agent under power of attorney, again, you're back in court trying to get that undone. And especially involving real estate, you've got to make sure you haven't fouled up the title.
For most middle-class families, we're not going to recommend a revocable trust because their biggest risk is long-term care, not avoiding probate. However, even if they have a trust, many times we'll say, okay, you don't have to get rid of that thing, but you need to have a qualified elder law attorney go through that trust and remove those poison pills.
Exactly.
So for instance, it doesn't become irrevocable upon one of the spouses losing capacity. The power of attorney can also revoke it on behalf of the person. So, you know, we probably wouldn't have recommended it. It doesn't mean it has to be done undone immediately, but you have to have the tools in place in order to do it in the future.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because many times it's a simple amendment, fix the thing and move forward because the assets are there. It's not going to destroy everything, but we always want to be able to undo it no matter what happens.
But for most middle-class families, they need to understand that family member ends up in that nursing home, we're going to have to undo that trust. So even though they paid for it, we're still going to have to undo it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be today, but the tools have to be in place to do it.
Just proper preparation, and then you'll be fine.
Tom, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
You're welcome.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Few things in life are as important as family. Leave your insurance worries to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
Every life that meets its end leaves a heart for love to mend. Sister, brother, family, friends are left to carry on. When the loss seems more than you can bear, it's nice to know that we'll be there at Douglas A. Fiery Funeral Home. We care.
Call Ed Lowe to help put your mind at ease.
Welcome to a special guest feature on Contemporary Retirement. This segment focuses on various issues which are of importance to the retirement community. With me today is Carvel Wright, instructor, lifelong learning, Hagerstown Community College. Welcome to the show, Carvel.
Thank you, Michael.
What's
nice to be here.
What's lifelong learning?
Lifelong learning is so that you can continue stimulating your mind with things that seniors like to do. And I am part of the computer in the tech area of lifelong learning.
But lifelong learning has history, it has all, you know, genealogy, it has almost anything that somebody of a retirement age might find of interest. There's a program for it.
That's exactly right.
Now, it's part of the Hagerstown Community College, so tell me about the tests and the exams and papers and midterms.
Oh, we're just full of that. We have none of it at all. It's all in the trash bin. We have no homework, no assignments. We have a schedule, of course, and we have no tests. The only tests that I have in my classes are an evaluation of the instructor.
All right. You know, and of course, I strongly encourage the retirement community to look at computers, you know, whether they like it or not. That's the way their family is communicating, you know, their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, and they can put themselves into the loop by learning how to turn on a computer.
That's exactly right. I saw on the internet the other day a new study that has come out that says if you're going to use a computer a lot, don't get a laptop, get a desktop. I don't know how true that is. I have both in my house and I use them both.
All right, but you know, one of the challenges that we have with the retirement community thinking about computers is, you know, I can remember in the 50s and 60s that people could literally feel like they could shut down the electrical grid of the United States by a misstroke.
That's right, and you cannot do that today. You can't even do it to your computer today. The computers are almost foolproof from a technical standpoint, and unless the power goes out, you're going to keep running.
And one of the things we tell people is the only way to make a mistake with the computer today is you have to know what you're doing.
That's exactly right. You can hit a bad key and you can recover, and if all else fails, which never used to be, you can unplug it and plug it back in, and away you go.
And so as a result of which this fear that somehow I can make a terrible mistake is just not well founded. You have to figure out how to go behind the screens, and you have to know how to do that. If you don't know how to do it, you can't figure it out.
That's right, exactly right. The computers today are so foolproof from a user standpoint that you can just have fun with them and not worry about all this other stuff.
But I don't know how to turn on a computer.
That's the first place that I start, is how do you turn the computer on?
Do I have to own a computer?
No, you don't. In my computer lab, I have 15 computers for...
We're going to have Director Greg pull up a picture of that lab as we speak, but in any event.
Yeah, and in this
So
lab
all
there
these
are
computers are provided.
all provided, and they all have software, and they have me running around the room helping them do whatever they need to do.
Now, Art Carville, I happen to know you're over 65. We won't ask how old you are, but they don't have to worry about some young snot-nosed kid, you know, who's an expert teaching them.
Right. One of the reasons I enjoy these classes is because they understand what I'm talking about and the jokes that I tell.
They think they're funny.
Yes, that's right. Yes, right.
So we can see here that it's not young folks, it's people with some maturity there, a few gray hairs, and they're learning how to turn on a computer and how to make it work for them, not against them.
That's exactly right.
I oftentimes characterize that computer as a window to the world. Now, what do I mean by that?
Well, it gives you access to anything that's happening in the world, news-wise, social-wise, entertainment-wise, and all of these different things, and you can go to research any subject you want to in libraries around the world.
And so genealogy, which has the big, you know, in this area, or history or anything, you'd just be amazed at how much you can learn.
That's right. Our genealogy instructor is a new one, but she is still doing everything that has been done before. She has access to the Mormon archives. She has access to the National Archives, and can really research your family, and you would be very surprised what you find.
Now, one of the interesting things about lifelong learning is its easy accessibility.
Yes. We are located at the Valley Mall, at the rear of the Valley Mall, and the parking is about 60 feet away from the entrance to the building.
No steps?
No steps at all, and when you come right into the building, you go 50 feet down the hallway, and there's where our campus is. And we have a campus of 8 classrooms, 2 of which are dedicated to computers.
And how do they find out more information?
They can call the Valley Mall directly at 240-500-2565. That's 240-500-2465.
Or just call community college and they'll get you into that
That's
system.
correct, yes.
Carville, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on
You're
our
welcome.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Tranquility at Fredericktown Assisted Living and Memory Care provides a warm, home-like atmosphere that promotes daily life enrichment. At Tranquility, our medical director is a geriatric physician. Our professionals support and understand the various stages associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have on-site physical, occupational, and speech therapists, as well as around-the-clock licensed nurses. For more information, give Tranquility at Fredericktown a call today, because everyone deserves great care. Let us do the caregiving so you and your loved one can embrace life again.
Come on, Dad, let's go! We're gonna be late! Hurry!
Just one more bid on HurleyAuctions.com. If you haven't visited HurleyAuctions.com, you don't know what you're missing. Whether you're buying or selling, antique cars, tractors, boats, or real estate, you can do it all at HurleyAuctions.com.
Get to know Dr. Carrie Hesley at Diagnostic Imaging Services.
What I find most rewarding is caring for women through our Women's Imaging Center. We have a caring staff that will ease patients through an ultrasound, bone densitometry, breast biopsy, or mammogram. Our health team is sensitive to emotions involved in women's imaging and understands that every woman is at risk for breast cancer. Providing the community with a center that is so dedicated to breast health and the imaging needs of women is something special.
DIS Women's Imaging Center, providing women with progressive care.
Welcome to Contemporary Health Scene. Contemporary Health Scene focuses on the health issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Bridget Keefe, Community Relations Director, Tranquility of Frederick. Welcome to the show, Bridget.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Great. You know, one of the challenges we always have as we try to talk about assisted living facilities is preconceived notions that a assisted living facility can only deliver certain levels of care and that it's a nursing home. Now, the first thing I want to do is have Director Greg pull up a couple pictures here so we can just talk about what the facility looks like, and then I want to talk about some other things.
Okay.
First of all, looks pretty nice.
5-star hotel, right?
And you know, and that's what we tell people every day is, you know, this is really designed for people to have as independent a lifestyle as they can have within the context of the fact that they need support.
Correct. That's true.
Now, this looks pretty nice.
I know, doesn't it? This is our main living area, our lobby. People like to read the paper and chit chat. We have happy hours, all kinds of fun living activities there.
So I guess when it's a little cooler, fireplace gets lit up.
Mm-hmm, it does.
And what do we have here?
This is what we call our great room, which is another cozy but well-appointed room where residents can just relax, and we have sing-alongs. We do all kinds of activities in there as well.
All right, and once again, you know, it certainly does not look like a nursing home.
It is not a nursing home by any means.
Now, I see here as we have furnishings, and this looks like the furnishings of the person who moved in.
They are actually, and her favorite color was purple, so we helped her with a few accessories. But yes, we encourage everybody to bring their own furniture to make it as home-like as possible.
Now, if you had somebody for a respite stay or something, they can just come as a hotel, but the reality
Correct.
is, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a pretty nice porch here.
I know it is. It's a very nice porch with a patio area, furniture with umbrellas. We even have a smoking section now, so.
And how about pets?
Pets are welcome, and we will help care for the pets if need be.
Okay.
Cats, dogs, all that.
Oh, so that gives it even more of a home-like.
It does, yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, all assisted living facilities talk about those kinds of things, and I think it's important, and the pictures clearly show that that's true. But there's preconceptions on assisted living, the services that they cannot deliver. So, for instance, there's been an automatic perception that if you were incontinent, you couldn't be in assisted living.
Right. That used to be, as you've said before, a trip to the nursing home, and it's not. We deal with all levels of incontinence.
And then, of course, if a person, you know, was a flight risk, they were not safe because of wandering with dementia, that was a perception that automatically meant you had to go to a nursing home.
Right, or a locked dementia unit. Now they have wander guards, and so we do have residents that wander, but they wear like a little bracelet, and we can keep track of them, and they can still live in our assisted living.
So it can be in both environments,
yes.
both a person where they're not in a lockdown unit,
Mm-hmm.
but if the person truly has to be in a lockdown
we
unit.
have that available as well.
All right, there was this perception that if you had significant medical needs, you automatically had to go to a nursing home. So let's talk about some of them specifically. And I think one of the big differentiations for Tranquility is you can do feeding tubes.
That's true. We do. We can do feeding tubes, we can do catheters, we can do colostomy bags, all that kind of stuff that nobody would talk about or do before.
And so part of it is a licensing issue, is that you know,
Correct.
your facility is licensed for the highest level of care that can be provided in an assisted living environment, which means that you have people there who might have otherwise been in a nursing home.
Yes, we do. We're licensed level 3, which is right under what a nursing home can do. And we really want our residents to age in place. We partner with hospice so that you don't have to move to a nursing home. You can spend the rest of your life with us.
And then, of course, there was always this perception, well, if you had assisted living, it meant that if you needed physical therapy, you were going to have to be transported to another place in order to receive it. Is that true today?
It is not true. We have physical, occupational, and speech therapy on site. We'll work in your apartment with you or take you to the gym that we have. We also have a medical director who's a geriatric physician. We have a dermatologist that does rounds, a podiatrist, a huge array of medical staff.
And then highly qualified technicians to do medication management on a lower level.
Yes, we have med techs who do the medication. We have an RN or LPNs there 24/7.
All right, and so there's this perception that people, when they walk through the door, I can't be in assisted living because, and our response to that is never make that assumption. Go talk to a high-level facility and determine what care can actually be delivered in a less restrictive environment.
Right, and you can be as little care as driving and needing help with your meds all the way to someone who's bedbound in our community.
You don't have to give up your car as long as you're legal.
Right, that's correct.
And Bridget, how can they find out more information?
They can call me at 301-668-6030, or they can stop by. We're right off of Jefferson Pike near the Seventh-day Adventist Church, but not the Sunday school for it, not associated with it.
All right, Bridget, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on our
Thanks,
program.
Mike.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend to everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up. It's going to make it, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
I have wanted to be a teacher ever since first grade. Without the Mary and Ruth Smith Scholarship, I would not be successful as a growing adult.
Do you wish to make a difference in the lives of others? You can, and you don't have to be wealthy to impact future generations. Start your legacy at the Community Foundation and impact lives, just as Mary and Ruth Smith have done.
Thank you to the Community Foundation for believing in me and providing me the opportunity to become successful with my goals.
Albright Crumbacher Mal and Itel are a full-service firm that provides elder care services, including managing incoming bills, bill payment, depositing checks, balancing bank statements, and preparing, planning, and filing personal tax returns. Put your mind at ease and call us today.
Welcome to the Making Sense feature on Contemporary Retirement. Making Sense focuses on the financial issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Pete Alexander, a partner in the regional accounting firm of Albright Crumbacher Mal and Itel, with offices in Hagerstown, Martinsburg, West Virginia. Welcome to the show, Pete.
Great to be here, Mike.
You know, Pete, first of all, we make reference to Hagerstown, Martinsburg, West Virginia, but the reality is CPA firms today on a high level essentially do tax returns for every state in the union.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people don't understand. First of all, everybody files the same federal return, and that's what the big thing is the federal return. Once you have this federal return done, probably about 40 out of the 50 states follow course with the federal return. The other 10 states, they just vary a little bit. So once the federal return is done, doing the state return isn't too much different. So we do have over the years clients that have migrated away from the local area, whether it be retirement or businesses taking them away, and we still retain that client relationship with them.
And it's kind of interesting because you look at the Maryland return, for instance, versus the federal return. Federal return 80, 90, 100 pages. The Maryland's essentially just picking up off the federal return and typically 1/10 the size of the federal return.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maryland doesn't only copy the federal. Most states copy the federal return. They pick up those numbers, but most states don't do individual audits of individual returns. They don't come and pick your return. They wait for the federal government to audit you, and once the federal government audits you, whatever findings they have, subtractions or additions to your income, they forward to your home state. So the states don't really have any of the documentation that the federal government has. Even the 1098s for mortgage interest and the 1099s for interest income and dividend income, that all goes to the federal government, and then the state waits for the federal government to send them. Each year after you file your federal return, the federal government downloads to the state, the home state, those returns. So the states really rely upon the federal government as not only their audit arm and their enforcement arm, but also the arm that gives them all the information.
So you'd be shocked because you look at the regulations on almost every level of the state except for the tax regulations, which are very short because it basically says whatever the feds decide, that's what we adopt.
Yeah, I mean, some of the states get their own little subtraction modifications and addition modifications, like Pennsylvania won't tax any retirement income. Maryland exempts a large portion of retirement income. So they do things to try to attract businesses or attract individuals, but for the most part, their starting point is your federal return.
And so we look at the estate tax return, the federal estate tax return. Probably 99% of U.S. citizens who die this year are not going to pay any federal estate tax because of about 5.4 million exemption, 10.8 million for a married couple. And the state of Maryland, by way of example, does not have an estate tax return, so they make you file a federal estate tax return to collect theirs because they don't even have a form.
Right, Maryland basically piggybacks the same. And you brought up two things. One, you said the 5.4 exemption, 10.8. I mean, and that's the important thing to realize is that 5.4, if you pass away, what you don't use, your spouse can now use. That was never the case before, but under the new estate law, what you don't use for your estate exemption, your spouse can use. So you do actually have a family type of 10.8. And you're right, most states, including Maryland, piggyback on the federal form. You calculate the same type of gross estate From the federal, that rolls into Maryland, and then you just use different exemptions. So across the line, they use the federal government, which is actually a good thing. You don't need two competing people coming up with their own sets of forms.
And once again, very little estate tax review on their part either, because they're relying on the feds to do it for them.
Right, because they know they're going to get downloaded, all the federal information, and if there's any change under audit from the federal government will notify the state. So that's what a lot of people, they get a notice on their return, they forgot to pick up some interest income, some dividend income. They pay that federal notice, and they think they're done. And then about a year later, after the federal government notifies Maryland, Maryland sends you out a notice, and they think, I already paid this, but what they don't realize is they paid the federal additional, they didn't pay the Maryland.
And so we made reference to Maryland, but it's essentially the same our entire viewing area, whether you're Pennsylvania, West Virginia, or Virginia.
Yeah, if your state has an income tax, they are relying on the federal government for the information to enforce their state income tax.
All right, and so one of the interesting things I think you mentioned here too is that when you look at those numbers, 10.8 million, the public is absolutely convinced by the Koch brothers, et cetera, that they're all going to pay federal estate taxes, and the reality is virtually no one pays estate taxes anymore.
Yeah, most people benefit from the estate tax law because while you don't pay an estate tax under current law till you go over 10.8, before forever it used to be 600,000 and your spouse got 600,000, and what you didn't use, your spouse could not use. But that 600,000 has grown to, in essence, 10.8 million.
For a married couple.
For a married couple. And if you're not over 10.8 million, you're not going to have any federal estate tax, yet a lot of your assets will get stepped up. Your heirs will inherit a stepped up basis, and that stepped up basis will allow them to sell them without a tax on them. So most people benefit from the estate tax nowadays.
Pete, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
Great to be here, Mike.
Thank you from Contemporary Retirement.
Remember a more carefree time? Leave your insurance worries to us, Wright Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
These days, it seems like everything's online, and filling out claim forms and receiving and paying bills online isn't always easiest. That's why we at Quality First Insurance encourage you to just give us a call. Let us help.
Hi there, I'm Paul Sweeney with Quality First Insurance, and it's still just as simple. Our offices are open every weekday where you'll be able to call and speak to real, live people.
No detail was missed. I'm so glad that I turned to Quality First Insurance.
I've recommended Quality First Insurance to my friends who've been just as satisfied.
If you're not happy with what you're paying for Medigap, or more importantly, not happy with your service, give us a try. We're locally owned, and we take the time to provide you with the best. We are Quality First Insurance, and our mission is to provide quality products to quality people. Pick up the phone and give us a call today at 800-745-1411.